Yes. All right, love. Something slightly different going on, don't you?
That's rhino expert Barry White, also known in the field as the rhino whisperer. She's working to move an animal heavier than a family car 4,000 miles. Why?
They're magnificent animals, rhinos. They're very misunderstood. I think people see them as being like these big, grumpy, not very intelligent sort of stupid beasts, and they're so sensitive and affectionate, and just to see the way they are with each other, it's amazing. And they've been around a lot longer on this planet than we have, so yeah, we deserve to sort of make sure they stay here.
40 years ago, there were roughly 500 northern white rhinos in the world. Today, 8 are left, and only 4 of them are capable of breeding. This breed is native to warm, sunny Central Africa, but they're here instead, in a zoo in cold, snowy Czech Republic. Many, including veterinarian Pete Morkel, say it's not the right place for the animals to breed.
They've really reached a point now where nothing is happening here at the zoo as far as breeding goes. Today sort of says it all, actually. If you see this sort of cold, snowy environment, you've got to believe putting them back in the natural environment in Africa could only be good.
The plan is to fly them to a nature conservancy in Kenya. But the move doesn't come without risks.
There's a risk of transporting them, there's a risk of adapting them to the new environment, there's security risks, there's disease risks. But I'd rather take those risks than to just have them slowly getting older and older here and finally dying out. I think we just got to take those risks.
Not everybody thinks moving the rhinos is the right thing to do. Dr. Oliver Ryder from the San Diego Zoo's Institute for Conservation Research says the rhinos are at a critical point where other options should be considered.
In those potential options, one would say you have to consider the possibility of assisted reproductive technologies that I think is really best accomplished in the controlled settings that can be offered in a zoo.
Despite differences of opinion in the scientific community, the plan proceeded and the rhinos were loaded onto planes. 2 males and 2 females were housed in crates for the flight from the Czech Republic to Nairobi, Kenya.
You want the pipe? Yeah, where's the pipe? The pipe.
Then they were loaded onto trucks and carried overland for the last 6 hours of their journey. Their new home? Old Pajetta Conservancy. Hamish Curry, director of Back to Africa, says the rhinos took the trip in stride.
What was so exciting this morning is to see zoo-born rhino that have never grazed grass in their life actually walking out and pulling grass out of the earth and munching it away, which suggests that they're going to adapt very, very easily.
Richard Vine, CEO of the conservancy housing the rhinos, is hopeful for his new charges.
The basic idea is to put them into a setting which is as natural as possible. In other words, in the presence of natural social stimuli, away from a zoo situation where they're living together, where they probably wouldn't be living together in a zoo, to provide them with natural forage, sunlight, probably more sunlight than they'd be used to, all the sorts of natural stimuli that they would normally have found in their natural environment, basically, in the hope that that will enable breeding to take place.
Caring for these 4 rhinos is no small responsibility, and protecting them is the job of Bation Craig, Wildlife and Security Manager at Old Pajetta.
We've got 2 mobile teams, 4-man teams, one within this 200-metre area that we are here all night. They're armed, they have night vision, thermal imagery, everything they need.
This high level of security is needed to counter poachers, who are one of the biggest reasons why these rhinos are endangered.
They're poaching rhinos for their horn, and the horn is used for 2 things. It's used for medicinal purposes, primarily aphrodisiac, but also for the manufacture of dagger handles in Yemen, which is a status symbol amongst rich people, basically.
While it may seem counterintuitive, sometimes that means cutting off their horns to make them less desirable targets. Tough decisions for a difficult time.
We're going to be facing a lot of these decisions. Species on the edge of extinction, What do we do with the last few individuals? Do we just let them die? Do we put them in a bedded environment? Do we mix them with other subspecies? What do we do? So a lot of the decisions, a lot of the thought process that's going into this whole move is going to apply to a lot of species in the next 100 years, which are going to be so critical for conservation. I hope folk, take a few lessons out of this whole thing.
Reporting for MSNBC.com, this is Amy Vitale.